So I just wanted to say thanks heaps for the support and the engagement that I got on that last video. That's really cool. It's always really motivating and inspiring getting support and questions and just engagement in general and stuff like that. So this one is going to be about taking responsibility for as much of your experience as you possibly can. So that includes taking responsibility for your actions, for, like, say for example, if you hit someone and then someone goes, "What the fuck did you hit me for?" and then you're like, "Oh, sorry mate, I just hit you." It's a weird example, but that's taking responsibility for it. You're owning up to it. You go, "Oh, sorry, I did that." But also taking responsibility for the mental side of your experience, which in my opinion is the most important, because our whole perception of all of reality, their whole world, comes from up in here. So I think that's something that we're all missing, because we're kind of just going off the education that school's given us and stuff, and maybe parents or teachers, some other sort of figures that you put higher up as like the education roles or whatever. But most of the time they don't know this sort of stuff around this topic unless they're into it. And it's kind of a topic that's like, if you know, you know. Like if you're in the sort of community of it, or this sort of path or lifestyle, you know. But if you're not, you have no fucking idea. But it's not information and stuff that's usually like really hard to understand, because it's, once you understand it, or once you even just read it, most of the time it's like, holy shit, that makes so much sense. So how do you take responsibility for like the mental side? So that would be, say if you have trauma that you've been through, like a traumatic event, and then now because of that you have things in your life that are negatively impacted by that. If you're not taking responsibility of that, of the effects it's having on you, of that trauma, if you're not dealing with it as much as you can, and just, there's so many different ways you can deal with things, and I feel like if you're not taking responsibility of it and owning it and accepting it and then progressing through it, moving with it, finding out how you can solve the problem, how you can deal with what's going on in a beneficial way, not instead of developing coping mechanisms, that's truly responsible. You're taking ownership of your problems, of an event that's happened in your life to you, and you're taking responsibility of the way that you react to that event and stuff. I see a lot of people that are kind of just trapped in this loop of blaming other people for their shit, for like getting angry just so fucking quickly at nothing. And then if you try to bring that up to them, because they're not taking responsibility of their anger, which is usually a response to fear. Like they would have, most of the time, especially if it's like enormous amounts of anger, that's clear signs of trauma. If they're not taking responsibility for it, then they're just gonna fucking, if you try and go, hey, hang on, calm down, it's alright, you don't need to be angry, they're just gonna fucking blow off at you. And then you're gonna be in the firing line because of something that they're not dealing with, that they're not taking responsibility of. But in saying that, it's not fucking piss easy to just go, oh yeah, I've had this event happen to me in my life, I take responsibility for it. You don't just say it and it's done. But there's always something you can do. You can always make a start. Just start fucking really, really, really small if you have to. Just like think about one thing that's really, really good is just when you have something that comes up and you avoid it, just some negative feeling, and it just keeps coming up and you keep sweeping it under the rug, you keep avoiding it. That's just it's just gonna keep coming up, and it's gonna get bigger and bigger and bigger. Your opinion of it is gonna get worse and worse and worse, and it's just gonna have a progressively negatively effect on your life. So one thing you can do with that is, whenever that stuff comes up, is just sit with it. Just drop everything. All other stimulation stops. You just sit there wherever you are, lay down in your bed, sit down on a chair, go for a nice walk, find a nice spot to sit. Really recommend that. Having the breeze blowing on you and stuff while you're meditating, or just having a good think. It's so good. So yeah, you just sit there and you just think about it. But what you do is you just observe it. You just pretend that you're like nothing but a set of eyes that's just looking into your head, or wherever you picture your thoughts coming from, wherever these emotions come up from. Because often emotions are physical. Like you'll feel, when I get anxious or nervous, my armpits get really itchy and tingly, and then I start sweating. Other people feel like depression and stuff, like a big hole in their stomach or something. You can move your awareness to wherever these feelings come up. They might just be thoughts like up here. So you just focus on the area that is affected by the thoughts, the feelings that come up, and then you just observe it. But this is where a lot of people go wrong. They might try to observe it, but then they just keep judging it. They keep going, no, I shouldn't be thinking, I'm fine. What? No, I'm fine. I've had a good upbringing. I'm fine. I'm not depressed. I'm not anxious. I haven't been through trauma. I don't need help with my mental health. But the chances are you fucking do. And the more you deny it, the worse your mental health is going to get. So you just sit there and observe it, but unbiasedly, objectively. Just sit there. Just try to take it, zoom, like a bird's eye view, a holistic view, like a kind of like a meta view of it all. To see all aspects of what's going on there, but with no judgment. Don't make any calls on if it's good or bad. No good or bad. No right or wrong. It's not, I should be doing this, I should be doing that, or I shouldn't be having these thoughts. I shouldn't be feeling this way because of this. You're not taking responsibility for it, you're just judging it. And then every time they come up, you're going to judge it even more. It's like a snowball. It's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and worse and worse and worse. But it doesn't have to be like that. So you just start with the observation, the objective observation, observe it. Just fuck all opinions off. Piss those off, you don't need those for this. Forget everything except what's going on there. Just be really, really conscious and present about what's going on in your mind, and that'll help you start moving towards acceptance, which is a really, really big step. Acceptance is a hard thing to do, but the more you do it, the more open your mind becomes, and the easier it is to accept bigger challenges or bigger obstacles or bigger sort of like issues or something that you find within yourself, or that you find in people, or situations come up in your heaps. More quickly, you can accept the situation a lot more quicker if you just start accepting the hard truth. So yeah, that's and again, like, this is, as well as the last video, this has been a fucking like astronomical help in my journey in like self-discovery and personal development. Like like discovering who am I, not just Morkai, not just this body that's here. No, who the fuck, like what's going on? Who's running this show? What's going on? So in order to do that, in order to do deep personal work on yourself, to dig deeper, you're going to, I always hear a lot of people say this and it makes so much sense. And I remember the exact moment when it clicked for me, and the saying is that the more you dig, or it's something like the more you dig, the worse it gets. The more you dig, the more problems you find. And that's so true. But don't let that discourage you, because these problems are holding you back from experiencing what life can be. They're keeping you, well, us, keeping everyone sort of just like where they are. Like change, good or bad, is change. Again, like if you step back, change is change. It's not good or bad, but you can make it good or bad. So yeah, just doing deep work and just like seeing the problem, and then just once you have that realization that like, oh fuck, say for example with me it was, fuck, I have anxiety, fuck, and then because this is like a major thing that stops, I feel like, let's say like 90% of the population from seeking help when they need it, is stigma. They have this false idea of whatever condition that they have that they're avoiding, they have a false idea of what that actually is. They have this stigmatized negative bullshit idea. For me, it was about anxiety. It was just like, I don't want to be associated with that fucking word. Like, that means I have a problem. That means there's something wrong with me. Yeah. There's always going to be like a problem with someone, with anyone. Like, you just got to accept that. And then you can start to begin the work. But acceptance is like a really, like, it's like the big fucking first step. It's the first bit of actual work that you do that you'll go, holy shit. Like, you'll think of, after you learn to accept it properly, and you really just think about it and go, I can't, like, you just stop fighting it, and you really accept it, you really take it in and love it, and you accept it as you, as a part of you, as a part of your experience, because it is. You'll notice that once you progress through that stage, whenever you think about that thing, it's a part of you now. It's not going to make you feel like, oh, so you're not going to cringe, you're not going to cry, you're not going to laugh, you're not going to do anything. You might laugh. It's good being able to move through it into the stage where you can make fun of it or make jokes, because that obviously shows that you're at a certain level where you're comfortable enough to do that, and it's so beneficial. But just like I'll give you an example for how I accepted that I have anxiety before I started working on it. I sat myself down in front of the mirror. Me and my girlfriend had just been talking about our mental health and stuff. And so I'd been having a big cry. And that's another thing. Cry as much as you physically can. Even if you have to go and have a shower by yourself or do it at night. Cry. Get it the fuck out. Get all of the negative blockages that you have in yourself. Just unleash the floodgates. Let it fucking flood. And you realise that no one's going to judge you for crying. So my eyes were all puffy, my hair was a mess. I just looked like I'd had a massive crying session. But to me then, I just looked like a mess. I didn't like how it looked. So I sat in front of the mirror next to the bed and sat there just staring myself in the face going, I have anxiety. And I would say it until I could say it without bawling my eyes out. I'd just force myself to fucking sit there and just push through just the negativity that would roll over me, the waves of negativity that would roll over me. Instead of just thinking about it and letting it boil over in my head, I got it out and I was crying and looking at myself and crying, having that moment with myself. It's really, really, really important. And I even noticed that the next day when I'd say in my head, because I would just say it all the time, and because I knew that acceptance, that I had to fully, completely accept it, every aspect of the anxiety, I had to accept 100% of it before I could start working on it, because then otherwise I'm going to start trying to make progress while I still have anchors back here. Whereas if I can just accept it all, scoop it all up, give it a big hug, bring it in, and understand that it's a part of me, it's a part of my life, and that it's affected me in all these different ways, and I can start pushing forward into the work that needs to be done, or that I deem necessary. So yeah, it's kind of like, if you think, trying to think of like how you can lay it out in stages. It's like, I feel like responsibility, you take ownership for it and then you fully accept it. So it's like, you'll have an issue, most of the time it'll be unconscious, you'll be unaware of it, and then you'll have like a wake up call, or just an epiphany, or just an idea about it, or someone will point it out to you. There'll be resistance because it's something other than what you know, and you only know what you've experienced and what you're experiencing right now, and you're not directly experiencing it because you're unaware of it, you're unconscious of it. So that's why you'll experience resistance when someone brings up a problem, because you can't see it. And it's fair enough, you can't see it if you're unconscious. So that happens, and then you need to start taking, if you want to accept it and work through it, these are the steps that I recommend taking, and that a lot of different spiritual practices and religions and stuff like that recommend. Is you own it, you just fully own it. You go, no, I'm have a really good look deep into yourself, as deep as you can, and really just try to understand. Like, say to someone tells you, I'm worried about you, I really reckon you should just have a look at this and see, like, seek help, or just talk to me about it, because I don't want this like to get worse or whatever. Say, let's use that as an example. Take that advice on and go, well, fair enough, I only know what I know about myself. They have fresh eyes looking in. They have a different perspective looking in. And a lot of the time that's really, really valuable. Because it's like when you work on an assignment with someone, you're not gonna think of everything. And then when you do it with someone, they always bring up points that you just completely missed, that you just like were miles away from, or that you're like, holy shit, I never would have thought of that. So yeah, you just take that advice on and you go, well, maybe there is truth to this, and then you just sit down with yourself, piss everything else off, just sit down and go, just let that idea slow roast in your mind. Don't let it like boil and bubble up into this big, like, boiling pot of irrationality and anxiety. Well, sometimes it's a bit harder than that, especially if it's like something that you have major resistance against. But you just sit there with yourself and really, really think about it, and think about how could it work? Like, for me, it was like, how do I have anxiety? And then I'd think back to social situations, or situations that would bring the feelings on, and then I'd put the word anxiety in there, and I'd go, how does Morkai in this situation have anxiety? And you really just observe it as deep as you can, and you will see it. You will see these little things that just point out to you. They just pop out. And then you take those things on, that's evidence right there. And then you can start taking it on, you can start going, yeah, fuck, I think I do. You might even go, oh, I think I'm more just, for me, it was kind of like, might just be shy, but like with a little hint of anxiety in there. But yeah, in my case, it was just anxiety, and then resistance against that word because I didn't like the word. But yeah, I'm kind of like jumping from topic to topic. I haven't got anything written down. I'm kind of just freeballing it here. But yeah, taking responsibility of it, really owning it, and then that's where. So you've got the trauma. You've got whatever. Let's just say that. Let's call it the wake up call. It could be like I was talking if someone points it out to you, and then you've got the part where you have to take responsibility for it, which is the beginning of acceptance, because you're not going to be able to accept something without taking responsibility for it, without owning it and going, no, this is me, I'm doing this to myself, or this did happen to me, this is affecting me this way, I am choosing to be affected this way, rah rah rah. And then comes the objective observation without bias. That's when you look at it, take actual notes. I hadn't started writing until recently, so there's a lot of stuff that I've missed that I'll have to go back over and actually write out, because then you can see it laid out. You can see it in dot point, in whatever, and fucking write a book about it if you have to. You like just get it to somewhere where you can memorize it, where you can remember it, and you can see it, so you can see what you're dealing with. You can see the factors that are at play here. So you've got the objective observation, and then you write it out, you take mental notes, voice record it, whatever, even turn it into art. And then that's when the work comes in. So for me, the work was, I just started figuring it out. Just started experimenting on myself and thinking, because I'll use myself as an example. It was anxiety around social situations with people that I don't know. I would always say, if I go buy something from a shop and the person at the register would say, how are you going today? And I go, yeah, good, thanks. But in my head I go, yeah, good, how are you? But there was this just barrier somewhere between my brain and my mouth. And then I wouldn't say it. And then so what I started doing was just going, yeah, good, thanks yourself. Just put yourself in that situation that makes you uncomfortable. And in my case, it was so little, like that's so minor. But once I overcame it, well, it was a big step for me, because I'd been at that level for all of my life. And then overcoming that, I realized, fuck, that was tiny. It was so easy, I just had to say it. And then it gives you confidence, and you're like, fuck, maybe I can work through this. And then I started, when I take my dog for a walk on the beach, I would angle myself towards people so that we would eventually end up close enough for an interaction. We would end up close enough where I would deem it awkward if I didn't say g'day or anything, or I would deem myself as being rude or whatever. So I would force myself to not like fucking walk up to him and like be like a foot away from him or whatever, but just like a normal distance where you'd go, and then I'd just go, how's it going, or g'day. Just little steps, like 2 little steps like that, even if I just stayed at that level. Like straight away I was noticing tremendous benefits from that. And then I got a job at a service station where I'm primarily making coffees and serving people. So I'm just talking to randoms the whole time I'm working, which is sick. So that was a really, really big help for that. Yeah, that's just an example of the work of, that's an example of going about it DIY, figuring it out yourself, and just like, because you just think about it, you go, what's my problem? Alright, what areas of my life is this affecting me in? Okay, how can I put myself in these situations that bring those feelings up so I can understand it better. Because you're not going to understand it to like the sort of like best degree you can by just thinking about what happened, because it's just a memory. You can't go back in the past and experience it. You can have memories that bring on like similar like the feelings, but they're always dulled down because it's a memory. It's not real. It's not a real experience. So you just put yourself in the uncomfortable situation, and then you do you just like the acceptance, but you observe what's going on around, not just in your head, what's going on. Really have a look. Like, say, if I'm at the register, someone's talking to me, and I'd get a bit anxious. You just, in that situation, to fix that problem, you'd step back and go, hey, what's going on? Alright, they're talking to me. He's on his phone. She's on his phone. They're arguing about something. I don't even know what the fuck that person's doing. And then you come back to yourself, what am I doing? Oh, freaking out about nothing. Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I can see why that's happening, because everything is normal. Everything is happening. Just like last video, this situation is happening, but I am working myself up over it and then making it into a big deal. So I think it's a big deal, but in reality, it's just a deal. It's just a situation that's happening. So yeah, that's like, I was trying to think of example of like work that you can do. Like, the best work you can do, in my opinion, and it comes up in a lot of the research I do, and that you'll find if you're sort of on this path of self-discovery and personal development and spirituality, and it's just deep inner work. Just digging in. Just really digging into yourself. Going, just like, you open the door and you go, who the fuck are you? What's going on? What's going on down here? And then you just picture yourself coming out, opening your door and going, I don't know, I'm really freaking out here. I need some help. And then you go, all right, well, I'm going to come in. And then you dive in. You really just go into yourself. And you dive in as literally, even if you have to stand there, like, stand in front. I recommend this. I need to do this more as well. Stand in front of the mirror. Stand in front of the mirror. Naked would be taking it a step further. Completely naked, full raw dogging it, just like your full raw authentic self. No exceptions. It's just you. Nothing added, nothing subtracted. Just you, and just looking at yourself and seeing how long you can stare at yourself for without being uncomfortable. And then really just look at yourself and apologize, and you just go, I'm sorry. Go, I love you. And then you go, it's okay, we're going to work through this. Do that every single day, and even if you just do that, you'll notice tremendous benefits from it. Because that way you're not running away from yourself. You're taking responsibility of your physicality, of your body, but you're also going in, doing the inner work. And in order to start doing the inner work, you need to take responsibility of what's going on in the fucking fishbowl up here with the little peanut floating around. So yeah, I think that pretty much wraps it up. I think that's all I wanted to say about it. But yeah, really, really face your demons. Like, wake up to your bullshit that you feed yourself and that you put out there and project onto other people, onto situations. Really own it. It's you. You are doing it to yourself and to other people. And I'm putting it myself as well. Like, yeah. Oh, one more thing is insecurities. Insecurities are a classic example of where responsibility, if you take responsibility, say a lot of the time it's physical insecurity, especially with teenagers, and I've been through this heaps. You really just gotta own it. Stop avoiding it. Like with my arms, if I used to see my arms in like a photo where they were stretched out like this, I used to be a bit skinnier before I started working. I don't even work out much at all, but for whatever reason, it's like just enough that I've been able to put on like a little bit of muscle. And back in high school, I'd see it in a photo and I'd go, oh fuck, or I'd see it, or I'd avoid wearing singlets, or I'd avoid just doing shit where that's gonna, like with a shirt on, where that's gonna reveal this part of my arm because I'm insecure about how skinny it is. I don't like it, so I keep avoiding it. When it's like, if you run up to it and you go, oi, you just really fucking have a look at it and go, why is this bad? Why am I making it bad? Why am I making myself sad about this? Why am I making myself anxious about this? Just doing that isn't going to eliminate insecurities. I'll do another video about insecurities. I've got a lot of thoughts on that subject, especially since moving past a lot of the insecurities that I've had that have bothered me for a lot of years. But yeah, insecurities is a sign of someone who isn't taking responsibility for whatever aspects of themselves, mental or physical, that they're insecure about. You're not going to be insecure about that you're responsible for, that you take ownership of. You can even push it to the point where you have pride. You're proud of it. You're proud of who you are. Because at the end of the day, a cunt's a cunt, and we're all just cunts.